Taiwan is once again at the centre of a geopolitical standoff between the United States and China, and experts warn that a miscalculation by either side could spiral into war. The Chinese Communist regime has launched a series of war games in response to a visit to the island by US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. State media says Beijing's military intimidation is effectively a rehearsal for an invasion. This comes after President Xi Jinping has vowed to reunify Taiwan with the mainland, by force if necessary. But Xi's nationalist sabre-rattling this week is also partly down to domestic politics. He will almost certainly secure a third term as Chinese leader later this year, despite problems caused by his zero-COVID policy and a teetering economy. Should China invade, the war will likely draw in the US, which is a close ally of Taiwan, teeing up a direct conflict between the two global superpowers. This is how we got to this point. Taiwan is a collection of islands that sits around 80 miles off the coast of southern China. It is home to 23 million people, and tensions over it go back more than 100 years to the fall of the Qing dynasty in 1911. This caused a civil war that descended into fighting between the Chinese nationalists on one side and the Communist Party on the other. It lasted for decades. After the end of the Second World War, the Soviet-backed communists won, forcing the nationalists to retreat to Taiwan. Separated by the narrow Taiwan Strait, the old enemies remain in a standoff to this day. The US is an ally of Taiwan and supplies it with weapons, though since the 1970s it has recognized the Communist Party as China's legitimate ruler.
Today we take another step in the historic normalization of relations which we have begun this year.
Now, Taiwan and the US are facing Xi's ambitions to make China the world's largest superpower by 2049. He has laid claim to vast swathes of the South China Sea. And if he makes a move on Taiwan, President Biden has said several times that the US would come to Taiwan's aid. Whether that goes beyond the military aid that America has given to the likes of Ukraine remains to be seen. But any attempted Chinese invasion would involve hundreds of thousands of troops. Taiwan is one of the most densely populated places on Earth. With nowhere to flee, civilian casualties would almost certainly be high. And it is entirely possible that any US forces sent to assist could find themselves in the crossfire. By accident or by design, it is easy to see how the two superpowers could come to blows.